I'm going to be responding to a video by Samuel in which he responds to a video I made a while ago addressing Al-Fadi and David Wood's claim that the Prophet, peace be upon him, did not have any miracles. Initially, I wasn't going to respond to this video because I didn't really feel too compelled to. However, with time, I thought about things and I said, maybe it's a step in the right direction because I appreciate his tone and I appreciate his demeanor, but let's get to it. Fire intro. To give you guys a bit of a background, David Wood and Al-Fadi made a video a while ago claiming the Prophet, peace be upon him, didn't perform any miracles. Their claim is simple. They provided verses that suggest that no miracles were made. Anyhow, I made a response video that you should check out if you'd like to follow this topic closely, since I'm not going to be repeating much of what I said in that one. But in short, my response was, those verses quoted by Al-Fadi and David were referring to the early stages of Islam, before the miracles were shown. And I've even shown a verse that demonstrates that miracles did appear and did happen as a sign for the Prophet, peace be upon him. Now, in order to disrupt my claim, Samuel made the claim that there is an issue with the timing of the revelation of the verses.
Verses that say Muhammad did no miracles before Surah 54 and the splitting of the moon. Let's have a look at the order of the surahs. In this table, I've listed the surahs in their chronological order. You can see that Surah 54 is number 37 chronologically, and Surah 20 is 45 chronologically, and you can see the rest of them there. All of these surahs, apart from 54, are the surahs that I quoted before that say Muhammad gave no sign. And you will notice that they all come after Surah 54 and the splitting of the moon. Now remember what Farad said. He said that the verses that say Muhammad gave no sign come before he did give a sign. Yet what we've just seen here is that these verses all come after Surah 54 and the splitting of the moon.
Samuel's source is a website. Samuel, a random Islamic website, isn't binding evidence on any Muslim. Upon closer inspection, it turns out that they are relying on a tertiary source. Al-Zinjani's list is based on Ibn Nadim, an unreliable source. So this claim about the timing of revelations and this list that Samuel provides is unreliable. So let's carry on.
And they ask, why has a sign not been sent down to him from his Lord? The appropriate response would have been, what are you talking about? He just did a miracle last week.
And well, actually, that's what we find in Surah Al-Baqarah. Those who do not know say, why does Allah not speak to us, or there come to us a sign? Thus spoke those before them like their words. Their hearts resemble each other. We have shown clearly the signs to a people who are certain in faith.
Again, this verse does not say Muhammad did miracles. It is referring to the signs of God in creation that are seen by those who know and have faith.
But does that really make any sense? I mean, look at the context. Basically, the non-Muslims are asking for a sign to prove the prophethood of Muhammad, peace be upon him. And then they are told to look at the signs of creation, like the sun and the stars. How is this a response? Interpreting the term ayat here to mean signs of creation is meaningless. The obvious interpretation is that it is indeed referring to miracles. So Samuel, think about this. Why did the answer change? Initially, when they asked for a miracle, nothing was confirmed. However, later on in Surah Al-Baqarah, in a Medinan verse, when they asked for a miracle, it was said to them that a miracle was shown to them. In any case, the Quran is clearly affirming that the Prophet, peace be upon him, came with miracles. Carrying on, there are multiple verses in the Quran that speak of signs clearly. Take, for example, Surah Al-Ahzab that speaks of a wind that saved the Muslims from being absolutely annihilated by multiple Arab tribes that surrounded Mecca.
Again, this verse does not say Muhammad did a miracle. It is just saying that God sent a wind. There is no mention of Muhammad doing a miracle here.
Samuel, I don't think you realize what's going on here. The Muslims were besieged in Medina by 10,000 of their enemies, outnumbering the Muslims whose total forces amounted to around 3,000. Oh, and they were also going to be attacked by Banu Qurayza from behind. In any case, out of nowhere, a fierce wind routs the alliance and prevents them from annihilating the Muslims, causing them to return to their lands. Samuel, a miracle can be the result of the strange timing of natural elements. For example, if we return to 1 Samuel 7, we find that the Lord sent lightning and thunder against the Philistines, which threw them into a panic, turning the tides of war. The prophet Samuel, of course, recognized this as a miracle from the Lord. So this miracle was a sign for the prophet Samuel. He didn't need to wave his hands into the sky. He didn't need to toss a staff towards the heavens. Everyone realized this, and he confirmed it as such, and the Bible confirmed it as such. Similarly, the wind was a sign for the prophet, peace be upon him. Once again, the verse, O believers, remember Allah's favor upon you when enemy forces came to besiege you in Medina. So we sent against them a bitter wind and forces you could not see. And Allah is all-seeing of what you do. Remember when they came at you from east and west, when your eyes grew wild in horror, and your hearts jumped into your throats, and you entertained conflicting thoughts about Allah. And all of that was gone with the coming of a wind. Samuel then shares his thoughts on the splitting of the moon.
There are 4 reasons why this verse is not referring to Muhammad doing a miracle. First, the verse does not say Muhammad did a miracle. Second, it says if they see a miracle. It is not saying they did see it, but if they did. Thirdly, it's describing the approach of the final hour in the figurative language the Quran regularly uses. And finally, as we saw in the table, there are 13 verses chronologically after Surah 54 which say Muhammad did no miracle.
So I'm just going to be dealing with this right here. Number 1, the first point was previously just refuted. It doesn't require the Prophet, peace be upon him, to throw a staff at the moon or anything like that for a miracle to be considered a sign for him. Number 2, Samuel says the verse uses the term if, implying no miracle occurred. However, verse 1 and 3 are clearly in the past tense. Number 3, Samuel quotes 18 examples of verses referring to future events. However, if you actually return to every single one of these verses, you'll realize that every single one of these verses is speaking about the future. Only the splitting of the moon is referred to in past tense. And of course, I've already dealt with number 4 early on in the video. And finally, the last point I'd like to respond to Samuel on is what he said about Abu Huraira.
His argument here is that all of the companions seem to agree that Muhammad did miracles. But I'm not sure about that. What about Abu Huraira? I have searched for a hadith attributed to him saying that Muhammad split the moon, and I cannot find one. There may be one, and I'm happy to be corrected, but I can't find one. But what I did find was a statement attributed to Abu Huraira, which implies that Muhammad did no miracle. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, every prophet was given miracles because of which people believed. But what I have been given is divine inspiration, which Allah has revealed to me. So I hope that my followers will outnumber the followers of the other prophets on the day of resurrection. Now, the straightforward reading of this hadith is that the other prophets brought miracles from God, but Muhammad brought the Quran.
Aywa. So you see, this thing about Abu Huraira, Sami, what you're doing here is you're cherry-picking one specific report, which isn't even explicit about no miracles, and you're imposing this on everything about Abu Huraira. When in reality, you have so many reports from Abu Huraira in which he's affirming miracles, like the multiplication of dates, the multiplication of milk, even the night journey. Abu Huraira narrates the night journey. Now, you don't have to accept the night journey. However, Abu Huraira is narrating, meaning he believed in this. So you can't quote one specific hadith and say, oh, Abu Huraira didn't believe in the miracles of the Prophet, peace be upon him. And remember, there's one point that you did not deal with from my previous video. The companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, conflict with one another in regards to specifics, matters that have to do with the religion, matters that have to do with fiqh, matters that have to do with the life of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and you find them refuting each other in multiple hadiths. However, when it comes to the miracles of the Prophet, peace be upon him, they affirm that these things occurred. Why didn't Aisha, for example, say, what are you talking about? There are no miracles. Why didn't Anas say, hey, you guys are exaggerating. The Prophet, peace be upon him, never did this. You don't find examples of that occurring because they all believe that the Prophet, peace be upon him, performed miracles. Now, before ending this video, I have a request from Samuel. If you're going to respond to this video, please spend a portion of it providing me your criteria for authentic historical reports. What do you need in order to assume that a historical report is authentic? And hopefully from there we can move forward and we can see how that applies to the miracles of Jesus, peace be upon him, and the miracles of Muhammad, peace be upon him. And to the rest of you guys, catch you guys later. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hello, everyone. In this video, I want to reply to Farad.
Just watch. This match ought to be a good one.